friends. This is Rahul Magan here, is a Group Chief Executive Officer of Treasury Consulting PT Limited and also a venture capitalist. Today from the Singapore office we are going to talk about something which is what is the future of global economy. This would be short 7 to 8 minutes video and this is my personal perception. So we are not affiliated by any political party, neither we are supporting any political party, nor we are exactly supporting any country. I strongly feel that 2019 might not be a good year for professionals as the pink slips have already started, like SAP fired approximately 4,500 odd people, Tesla asking 3% people to go, and almost every company is firing. Standard Chartered Bank is heading for $700 million of cost cutting, and almost all banks, and with due respect, being from the banking side, we have the internal information that banks are asking people to go, but that's somehow not coming in the public domain. Like Jaguar is firing, in fact Jaguar did the impairment of I think some 26,000 odd crores. So there is a huge amount of mess which is happening in the industry. I apparently feel that 2019, somewhere closer to August and September, we will see a big shock in the global economy, and this big shock will come from either US or China. US in the sense like because of the huge amount of debt. So closer by $34 trillion of debt is there in their books, and it is rising at a very faster pace. Unfortunately, Donald Trump also himself not been able to reduce the quantum of the debt. Rather, it has increased after his presidency. One side, his presidency did very well. Like he's meeting with Kim Jong and he's cutting the tax rates. He's increasing the efficiency of the government department. The investments are rising in the US. The jobs are rising in the US. So out of 10, more than 8 fronts, he did a good job. But one front where he not been able to manage the show is the rising debt, and now it has increased to $34 trillion. And that's also unfortunate that Federal Reserve on paper tried to cut the balance sheet, but they are not in a situation to cut the balance sheet now. As far as the China is concerned, we all know that that is also an issue. China, God knows the numbers which they are throwing is right or wrong. And without quoting the name of one country, I hope you guess that we have another country in the Asia Pacific. They have already started circulating the fake numbers, whether it's a GBP or whether it's a GDP data, it's a employment data, or there are taxation revenue data. I'm not quoting the name of that country. I hope you make a guess. We have one country in Asia who wanted to be a $10 trillion economy by 2030, but the numbers which they are throwing is always of doubt. I strongly feel that by August 2019 or by September 2019, we will see the mess in the economy, and that would be start from US to Singapore. If you really wanted to cover this mess, I would request you to start using advanced equipments like exchange traded fund, index traded fund, and using the structured derivative. I see that somewhere August to September, when the mess will start, equities will fall down across the globe, currencies will depreciate very immediately, and God knows Brexit will happen or not. We do not know, as 29th March is the deadline, which is still approximately 30 days to go. Only God knows what would happen, because every second day there is something or else is happening. So overall, the cloud is not good for the globe. Cloud is seriously very bad, and who knows that what would happen in the near future. To wind up this video, I would like to take 2 minutes for our Indian people just to give a small currency forecast of mine. If the Brexit would happen, then GBP will tank to 1.20 and no one can stop. At least 11 to 12 big figures from here. So currently at 1.31, it would tank to 1.20. Euro, which is 1.41, would tank by at least 12 to 13 big figures, would close to 1.30 or 1.32. If Brexit would happen, then Indian rupee, which is closer to 71 now, would not stop at least before it reached to 78. Philippines peso would again continue to the carry currency. Reserve Bank of India has cut the rate, and the cutting of the rate by Reserve Bank of India will reduce the carry for Indian rupee. On the contrary, Japanese yen to US dollar would continue to be the funding carry, while Swiss franc, euro, they would continue to be in the negative territory as far as the forward premium is concerned. And surprisingly, Singapore dollar has also joined the negative premiums. We're going to shoot a video on this weekend that exactly how come Singapore dollar is joining that show. But very surprisingly to see that now Singapore dollar, although Singapore dollar, apparently Singapore is one of the leading financial centers of the globe, there is no doubt about that, and it is amongst G7 currencies of the globe. But it is quite surprising that the forward premiums of Sing dollar has moved on into the negative territory. So if I see that the current spot is 1.35 and 3-year premium is closer to 200 basis point negative, it means that people see that after 3 years Sing dollar would be 1.33. I don't think this is a good signal for the Singapore government, and I think government should take up something. Either they can do there are multiple techniques they can get this done. You know, in FX we are not here entering into that. Alternatively, another issue for me as far as the foreign exchange is concerned is the future of Australia. Australia is heading towards a negative territory. Reason being, the housing crisis in Australia is now heating up. The housing prices are falling, which is not good for Australia. And on the contrary, although oil is closer to 66 and the world has not yet saw the fall in the commodity prices, but God knows, if by 2019 the world will start shaking up or the recessions will start, and more or less signals are there, more or less signals of recession are there, you agree or disregard, that is your problem. If this would happen, then commodities will fall, and if all of a sudden commodities will fall, then Australia would be in the mess. Sitting today, Australia is Aussie dollar is 0.71. If this would happen, then by September, August to September, I will see this at 0.63, which is not less than 8 big figures to 10 big figures down. So I might see it at 0.61 also. I think Australian exporters should start covering using option, and Seagull is the right strategy or participating forward you can take up. And another biggest issue which we are facing, is the basically, you know, the rising tension between India and Pakistan. Not to mention that India-Pakistan rising tension would surely impact the currencies. There is no doubt about that. The failure of the talk today between US President Donald Trump and the South African and North Korean President Kim Jong is also a negative news for the globe. It means that at least the denuclearization. So a few months ago, when they met in the same country, Singapore, they agreed towards a denuclearization. They agreed on a certain date. But now the talks failed, and White House today confirmed that. So on a geopolitical side also, things are not good as far as this 2019 is concerned. But apparently technology will rule the show, and hopefully technology will make things simpler, but of course at the cost of the jobs. Overall, I see that currency movement would surely going to happen, and Indian rupee would continue to be on the radar. As we know that Indian Sensex has lost till now on a YTD basis, year till date basis in 2019 compared to another stock exchanges of the globe. So things don't look very rosy here. I see that recession is not very far, so please be prepared for the recession. As usual, to cut the video, Indian startups are not getting any much more funding. The funding has already died in case of Indian startups, and there are companies who claim to be the top companies in unicorn. They are ending up in a huge losses. Examples like Paytm, like Jabong, like Zomato, like Swiggy, huge losses. I don't know what exactly they are doing with that money, God knows. So things are not very rosy. This is what we want to discuss today, and if recession will happen, we are heading towards mess here. With this, Treasury Consulting, thank you from Singapore. You know my mobile number 9899242978. Alternatively, my email ID rahul.magan@treasuryconsulting.in. Thank you.